Good morning, Charmaine Watt coming to you live from Regina, Saskatchewan. I'm going to be redoing the Facebook Live that I did at 10 a.m. this morning due to the poor quality of the video. I guess I'm having some buffering issues. I used my laptop to do the video this morning, so I'll redo it so we have a better quality one. Thank you to everyone that has been following and watching my Facebook Lives. I do really appreciate that. Today I'm going to speak about or talk about some of the expenses that are involved and associated with owning an apartment block. There's the intercom, and there's a variety of ways of doing this. For one of my buildings, the intercom, I pay a SaskTel fee for the line that it uses every month. At one of my other apartment blocks, it does not have a SaskTel bill because it is owned by us that own the apartment block. It's already in the building, and really it depends on how it was set up when the building was built and what has been done to that building over the years that it has been in service. Power. Typically the owner is responsible for all the power that is used within the building for the common areas and any vacant suites as they become available. Now, for one of my apartment blocks, I also pay for the power for the electrified plug-in spots outside. In the future, I would like to change that, and there's a number of reasons for that. One, I don't want to be paying for somebody else's power. I think people should be responsible for their own utilities. I think it makes them more responsible for using it. The other thing is, they can then turn it on when they need to have it on for the winter months instead of me doing that, and maybe not meeting the time frames that they want to have their vehicle usable. To help reduce the amount of power used within your building, you should ensure that you have LED lighting throughout. That is a huge cost savings. And sometimes there are enough sales on that you can get a really good sale on the price on the bulbs that are used. If you are going to be upgrading the power in your building, you may want to consider having gas dryers instead of electric dryers. And again, it's another cost savings, and the gas dryers actually are more energy efficient. Now, energy. The owner is typically, once again, responsible for this cost. In the common areas, it's also used for the boiler and the water heater. So again, that's another cost. And you don't have any choice. It has to be done. And in some cases, depending on the age of the boiler and the water heater, it may be more cost effective to have those items replaced with new ones that have better technology built into them. Water, again, we pay for all the water used within the building. It just doesn't make any sense to put in a meter for each suite when there's one person or two people living in it, and then the cost is that much higher for everybody involved. However, you will want to ensure that you have water saving devices for low flush toilets and shower heads and things like that. Even laundry machines, the newer ones use less water. So always consider those upgrades. Insurance. If you belong to a real estate group like PREG, which is Profit in the Prairies Real Estate Investors Group, or RAIN, which stands for Real Estate Investors Network, you may receive a discount on your insurance. PREG has discounts on apartments where RAIN does not. RAIN has better discounts on homes than PREG. So you have to just be aware that you have these different options with the different memberships. Now, often the price of a membership to either PREG or RAIN can be more than covered by the savings on insurance discounts that you would receive. Now, with regards to the houses, at no point in time can you use those memberships to cover your personal home. It's only for rental properties. Property tax, well, I pay a monthly fee for my property tax. It's about $1,200, I believe. I don't even know if they give you an option to do it on a yearly basis just because the cost involved. Then, of course, you have advertising. Advertising is for vacant suites, and typically we advertise online because everyone is so technology literate nowadays. There is some print that gets done, but not a lot of it. And this covers the vacant suites that we might have available at the time. So, pest control. this can be a huge expense for some people. If you are aware of neighboring apartments that are having pest issues, and you don't want to consider having, you may want to consider having your apartment treated for prevention of pests entering your building. It is often cheaper to prevent a pest from coming into your premises than to try and deal with them after they have arrived on your premise. So, and it's not cheap. I will tell you that right now. I've not had to have it done for things like that. Pests can be mice, cockroaches, etc. Now, typically in Saskatchewan, mice are an issue no matter where you live, whether it be in the country or in the city. If you have parks nearby or vacant lots, mice are there. So you have to educate your tenants to make sure they pick up all of their garbage and deal with things properly. So there's no, so mice don't want to come in. Make sure that holes are always sealed up. Mice don't need a big hole to get into your property, so it's imperative that you do take care of those issues. Cleaning, well, cleaning has to be done weekly in common areas, or depending on the areas, you may have to do it more often if you have if the building is really large and you have more people coming and going. Of course, it's going to get dirtier faster with all those extra people. So instead of once a week, you may have to be doing it 2 or 3 times a week. Keys. That is a huge one. When I bought one of my buildings, the keys were a real mess. I didn't have one master key for everything. I had maybe a master key for 6 suites and another master key for 4 suites and things like that. It was just chaos. It was a mess. It was time consuming. It was frustrating. So we had the building rekeyed, so we had one master key for all the suites. We have a separate key for the front and back door, which is also necessary. And of course, you will want to keep some keys on hand, so in case a tenant loses them or locks themselves out, that type of thing. You don't want to be having to run down to the locksmith every time to get another key made. Garbage disposal and recycling. Now, this is not covered in your property taxes when you pay for them. This is an additional cost to you. In fact, it's even for condos. So that is something you should be aware of. Personally, I have been using Laura's Disposal here in Regina. I like them. They've been doing a really good job. And there are a variety of ways for some people. For my one Vaughan Street apartment, we have our garbage dumped 3 times a week. Now, it's only a 17-unit apartment block, and you're thinking, my goodness, how come people have so much garbage? Because those bins are big. It's not just our building. This was something that was in place prior to me purchasing the building. So there are actually my apartment, another apartment, and a condo complex that share that one garbage can. So that's why it gets dumped 3 times a week. And then also the price is split 3 weeks, which is really nice. So it means that there's not a garbage piling up and looking messy. The one downside to that is the fact that we may have problems with people dumping mattresses or furniture, and unfortunately I end up paying the cost of that because we don't have security cameras, so we don't know who dropped those items off. Thankfully, it's only happened once since I've purchased the building last July. So that is the one downside. The recycling bin, it gets dumped once a week, and again, this cost is split 3 ways. Now, pardon me, it is only split 2 ways, the recycling bin. And the reason being, because those bins sit on my property, again, it was done prior to me purchasing the building, it was decided that I would not pay for the recycling bin at all. So just a little bit of a compensation to say that. Property management fees. Well, you think sometimes, gee, that's a lot of money to be paying someone to maintain your building, but it is really not that much. They do a good job. They are responsible for getting tenants in the building, screening them to make sure they are not going to be, not paying their rent, that type of thing. You don't want to get a professional tenant that never ever pays and only damages your property. We have a few of those in Regina, unfortunately. So then the other thing they do is they maintain the property with regards to grass, keeping it cut, picking up any garbage, snow removal off the sidewalks, making sure the sidewalks aren't icy, that type of thing. And recently, when they were going through my building, they discovered a water leak that was not apparent to start with, but it turned out there's a hot water pipe leaking in the wall, and it was leaking down into the crawl space. So the fact it was going down the crawl space was no big deal because it's dirt down there. But having it left unattended would have increased the cost and the amount of water used for the building. It could have also possibly given us a mold issue if it had been there for too long, or things like that. So it was dealt with, and it cost hundreds of dollars to deal with it, but it is done and dealt with. Water heater rentals. I personally have a water heater rental, and the reason being, it's nice that if something happens with it, they just come out and fix it. There's no questions asked. Thankfully, I haven't had a problem. It's a newer one. I suppose it's only about 4 years old, so that's nice. And then if it gets to a point where it needs to be exchanged because it's no longer working properly, it's just I pay the gas fitting fee to have it replaced, and that's it. And of course, if it's a larger unit, then I'd have to pay more money, but I think I have the largest one available right now. Then, of course, you always have your maintenance and repairs. Maintenance could be anything from repairing screens to broken windows, things like that, and replacing a refrigerator or a stove if they're not working. And thankfully, again, when I bought my building, the last one here, all the appliances had been replaced. However, last month, one of them was not working. It turned out that the electrical socket had quit working for some reason. So an electrician went in and fixed that problem. You will always have some sort of a minor issue to go with the building. Buildings are older, so things do break down. That's just a fact of life. The reality is if you deal with them quickly and efficiently, then they don't become a bigger problem, which ends up costing you more money. So there's the inspection costs that have to go along with owning an apartment block too. Every year you have to pay TSASC. That stands for Technical Safety Authority of Saskatchewan. This is the agency that issues a license for the boilers and or pressure vessels that might be in your apartment building. You, by law, are not allowed to have the apartment building operating if you do not have that license. It's a safety issue. And the fire marshals must come through your building every year for an inspection to make sure that you're meeting fire code with emergency lighting, fire extinguishers, fire doors, and the exit lights there. I forget what they're called. I'll call them exit lights that say exit here for fires, those types of things. So if you would like to learn more or have any questions, please contact me at charmaine.watt@sasktel.net. That is SHARMANE period WATT at SASKTEL.net. Please like and share my Facebook Lives. I would really appreciate that. Remember, live your life by design and not by default. Take care and have a great day until next week.